the 2017 Youth Commonwealth Games. And we want to make cycling a part of those games. So we have a 5-year developmental program to try to get us there. In 2012, we're going to look at issues, like I said earlier, we broadening the scope of cycling to include BMX and mountain bike racing. So a number of activities we have planned for this year is to appoint BMX and mountain bike commissions as part of the association structure, so that those persons who are promoting that aspect of the sport can come on board and develop it from within the association, not from outside of it. We also plan to host at least one BMX and mountain bike event off-road, not on the city circuit, but on the home, which is more of a off-road. They're off-road sports, not really
where?
City. Well, we've seen mountain biking being done at Kazabar on the back roads of Cape State and that sort of area. In terms of BMX, there's actually a BMX track that is where the sport is supposed to be practiced. Now, we have spoken to USA Cycling, and they have agreed to provide us with a start gate and a soil adhesive called soil tack, which is used to make a BMX track. We've also discussed with the government of St. Lucia through Ministry of Youth and Sports the possibility of getting some land donated to us to put that track on. And it seems to be going very well. We're hoping this year to have that construction done as well. So we have a home for BMX. We will have mountain bike off-road events, and hopefully that is our ultimate objective, not necessarily this year, but to have a home for track cycling as well. That is absolutely critical of velodrome for the development of track cycling. You cannot do it without that facility. All other sports, basketball, you need a court, volleyball, swimming, you need a pool. We need a cycling facility dedicated for this sport for it to develop its full potential. And that is one of our major objectives within this 5-year plan.
And you're saying that you got some positive feedback from the government regarding that?
Regarding a
initiative?
BMX track, yeah.
The BMX track.
Yeah, there's two different facilities.
How much would it cost to put that BMX track in place?
The BMX track will cost very little money. We can do that with, let's say, once we get the land identified, the actual construction cost is minimal. We could get that done with possibly 30,000 EC dollars.
Wow.
The biggest cost will be the start gate, which has been donated by USA Cycling. You just need dirt, the soil adhesive, and that's about it. And you design the track. We're going to get technical assistance from USA Cycling as well to design that track. And there you go.
About how much space would you need for that?
Like an acre of land or so.
Okay, that's small.
Yeah, that's
and that will accommodate seating, spectators.
Seating, yes.
Okay.
It's a very family-friendly sport as well, BMX, because it is confined in a limited area. So you're not out on the road, and people it's actually very spectator-friendly, where you can see the race from start to finish, and it's quite exciting. So we're open to attract. And we see many of our youngsters riding BMX bicycles around the streets of Castries. So instead of having them riding around, breaking the traffic laws, come on the BMX track and expend that energy.
But obviously, I mean, you'd need more than one BMX track. You'd need more than one cycling
velodrome.
Yes, to develop the sport as you'd like to, because people always say that everything happens in the north anyway. So, of course, putting a plug here for the people in the south and the east and the west who'd want to participate and would want to, just take in some of the cycling and develop their skills as well. We
can start with one, Clinton. I mean, we're not trying to be unreasonable and to give us 2 one time. We can start with one, see how that progresses. We know when that takes off, it will be phenomenal. So then if we see the need for more, we can, of course, we have the critical mass now to get some more. But just right for now, we don't have a facility. So we just want to get one, and we can move from there.
And who knows, it might be in the south.
Who knows? We're talking about auto racing, so I mean, all the racing with wheels might be in the south. In terms of the cost associated with getting involved in this sport, cycling, sometimes it can be prohibitive, especially if you're not, well off. Just talk about the cost of getting involved.
Cycling can be relatively cheap, or it can be fairly expensive. The thing is that if you are getting a bike on the cheaper end of the scale, it will still serve you in terms of developing your health and your fitness, just as a bike that costs you quite a bit more. So it boils down to a matter of the user and what the user really prefers to ride after a particular time. It is such a sport that you may get into it at one level and decide that, look, after a while I want to upgrade what I have, and you find that you're getting into more expenses. But cycling is something that you can get into. Manufacturers have bikes that are quite affordable, and of course you have the high-end bikes. You just need to know where you want to.
But what's the difference between? I mean, they all have two wheels. They have pedals. They have
weight is a big factor. Weight, the quality of the components that are on the bike, the purpose of the bike as well. Road bikes are generally more expensive than mountain bikes, although you have some mountain bikes that are pretty pricey. The material that the bike is made of, whether it's aluminum or carbon, also those things play a big part in it. But essentially, it's a weight thing.
How does weight affect the performance of the bike?
Because the human being is the engine, a heavier bike would be a little more difficult to push, especially up some of these hills that we have in St. Lucia, than a lighter bike. Yeah, so that's the major thing.
And give me an average cost, if you can. If I say, okay, after this program tonight, I want to go and I want to get involved in cycling, I want to be part of Project Breakaway or the Cycling Association, and probably it wouldn't be that easy for me to be part of the association. I'd have to go and you'll have to test whether I can balance on two wheels first.
No, you can remember.
We have seen bikes ranging from as little as $500 to yes, to as much as 13,000 or so EC.
Okay.
Right? So there's a range in between there. An average bike, an average road bike would cost about 3,000 EC.
Now, we have had prominent cyclists, you know, promising cyclists too. I mean, my good friend Chester Ford comes to mind immediately. I mean, when we were at school, he was the hot shot. He was at school and he used to just kick butt on the road, beat everybody. Every time you had cycling, you'd hear, you know, Chester Ford, Chester Ford, Chester Ford. Now I see that he's cycling again. However, I mean, it would appear that the sport has done him some disservice because he has not really gone out and furthered, you know, himself, because obviously he did not have that backing from an association.
No, I don't think
so
speak
to that.
I think in terms of cycling, you get into it, you get out of it what you put into it. Chester Ford is a very, very promising and serious young cyclist. He went as far as representing St. Lucia at Pan Am Games overseas, regionally, internationally. But I think Chester Ford was growing up. He attended university. He now has a family. So I think other commitments came in the way of him in particular, but also other cyclists in general. Like I was saying earlier, if you don't have a facility to develop the sport, then you don't get to see people develop to their full potential. You can only go that far riding on the roads without a proper cycling facility, which would have a coach who could look at you and do talent ID and properly monitor your development. In a confined environment, it's a lot easier to do that, and without that, I don't think we're going to see cycling reach its full potential without such a facility.
You had guys like Dookie. I mean, you have Sylvester James. The Mangal brothers, Mirage brothers now who are now dominating the cycling.
There's Winston Williams as well. Winston Stoney Williams, he is also prominent on the scene. And a young cyclist by the name of Jordan Richards is also doing.
Jordan Richards, is he the one? Because I remember there's a young guy who was dominating the junior scene. Is it?
He's the
Is
one,
it
yes,
Jordan?
yes,
yeah,
Jordan
he's from
Richards?
Leclerc, yeah.
And,
Okay.
and up-and-coming cyclists, Gillen and Shandoy Moses, they are also doing good things on the youth scene. So there is potential there, but of course we are looking at St. Lucia in relation to the rest of the world, and we
Right.
must have the facilities and the structure so that we can take the guys that we have here to the next level.
Now, are all those accolades just local? You know, we talk about the Mirage brothers, we talk about Richards, the young Jordan Richards. Are they only performing locally, or have they been given the exposure to go out there and represent the island?
Oh, yeah.
And when they do, how do they fare, you know, in the face of international and regional competition?
Our guys fare well regionally. For example, 2008 Caribbean OECS Cycling Championships was held in St. Lucia. We won that event. In the person of Sidney Charles won that event. Kurt Maraj came in third place, and we had about 4 other guys in the first 10 in that event. John Richard has performed very well in terms of being in Puerto Rico. He came second in a 3-stage race. He performs very well. The problem is when we go internationally now, we have to compete against persons who cycle professionally. That's all they do. They ride the bicycle for a living. Our cyclists, people like Kurt Maraj, Winston Williams, the guys have full-time jobs.
Right.
So the time they get to practice, to hone their skills, they're limited to early mornings, late afternoons, or on the weekend. And that is not sufficient in terms of preparation to come up against cyclists who have tremendous support in terms of finances, in terms of resources and access to trainers, coaches, physiotherapy, nutrition, all of that. And as well, don't forget a facility where they can be monitored on a daily basis and coached to extract the very best and the full potential from them. So our guys perform well, yes, but we are trying to bring them up to a certain level. Right now, we have persons like we have Fidel Mangal overseas in Cuba on a 5-month stint to try to expose him to some international, some higher level cycling so that he can up his game and compete on the world scale.
You're watching Newsmaker Live. We are due for a break, so we'll take that now. When we come back, we'll discuss more cycling and Project Breakaway with Ernest Otley, coordinator of the project, and the treasurer of the St. Lucia Cycling Association, Leslie Serrier. Stay with us. We'll be right back.